Trina, that's horrible. Take your hand. Forget the next, yes, public. Okay, there we go. So I hope we don't have any issues with YouTube today. Robert, that's Wabu. Saleh, hey girl, hey. All right, y'all. Happy Sunday. All right, beautiful people. Happy Sunday. It is October the 3rd, 2021, day 269 of year 3 of reading through the books of the law and the prophets, and of the 3-year consecutive day count, day 938. Remember, that is without the Sabbath days or the feast days. Sabbath days added into the count because we rest on those days. Today, we're reading Job 7, 8, and 9. And then we'll pick up where we left off in Caesar's Messiah in chapter 8. And we're going to backtrack to page 223. Okay. Tiffany. Oh, happy day. Hey, girl, hey. Okay. Let's see. Let's go ahead and pull up the Shema so we get started. While the kids still upstairs. Bella woke, but she's checking out watching TV. Bomb, shalom, shalom. Shema Dream Sky Lover, good morning. All right, y'all, remember, Shema, excuse me, it's found in Deuteronomy chapter 6, starting at verse 3. Hear, therefore, O Israel, and observe to do it, that it may be well with you, and that you may increase mightily, as Yahuwah, the mighty one of our fathers, has promised us in the land that flows with milk and honey. Hear, O Israel, Yahuwah, our mighty one, he is one. And you shall love Yahuwah, your mighty one, with all your heart, and with all your soul, and with all your might. And these words which I command you this day shall be in your heart, and you shall teach them diligently unto your children, and you shall talk of them when you sit in your house, and when you walk by the way, and when you lie down, and when you rise up. And you shall bind them for a sign upon your hand, and they shall be as frontlets between your eyes, and you shall write them upon the posts of your house and on your gates. And Yahuwah commanded us to do all these statutes, to fear Yahuwah, our mighty one, for our good always, that he might preserve us alive as it is at this day. And it shall be our righteousness if we observe to do all these commandments before Yahuwah Almighty One, as he has commanded us. Christy, hey girl, hey. Okay, y'all, so let's get right into it. Job chapter 7. Remember, Job is already in his agony. His friends just kind of going in already on him, thinking that he's done something to sin because he's now struggling with things that they don't believe righteous people should have to struggle with. Not even considering once that it's Yah that could be testing him, right? Okay, Shayla, great rising. All right, y'all. Job chapter 7. Is not, excuse me, is not all human life a struggle? Our lives are like that of a hired hand, like a worker who longs for the shade. like a servant waiting to be paid. I too have been assigned months of futility, long and weary nights of misery. Lying in bed, I think, when will it be morning? But the night drags on, and I toss till dawn. My body is covered with maggots and scabs. My skin breaks open, oozing with pus. Oh, I don't know. I probably would have just been like, you know what, go ahead and take my ghost now. I don't know if I can do with that. Job cries out to Yah. My days fly faster than a weaver's shuttle. They end without hope. O Yah, remember that my life is but a breath, and I will never again feel happiness. You see me now, but not for long. You look for me, but I will be gone. Just as a cloud dissipates and vanishes, those who die will not come back. They are gone forever from their home, never to be seen again. I cannot keep from speaking. I must express my anguish. My bitter soul must complain. Am I a sea monster or a dragon that you must place me under guard? I think my bed will comfort me, and sleep will ease my misery. But then you shatter me with dreams and terrify me with visions. I would rather be strangled, rather die than suffer like this. I hate my life and don't want to go on living. Oh, leave me alone for my few remaining days. What are people that you should make so much of us, that you should think of us so often? For you examine us every morning and test us at every moment. Why won't you leave me alone, at least long enough for me to swallow? If I have sinned, what have I done to you, O watcher of all humanity? Why make me your target? Am I a burden to you? Why not just forgive my sin and take away my guilt? For soon I will die in the dust. For soon I will lie in the dust and die. When you look for me, I will be gone. Uncle Nathaniel, peaceful greetings. Next chapter, Job chapter 8. Bildad's first response to Job. Then Bildad the Shuhite replied to Job, how long will you go on like this? You sound like a blustering wind. Does God twist justice? Does the Almighty twist what is right? Your children must have sinned against him, so their punishment was well deserved. But if you pray to Yah and seek the favor of the Almighty, and if you are pure and live with integrity, he will surely rise up and restore your happy home. And though you started with little, you will end with much. Just as the previous generation, pay attention to the experience of our ancestors, for we were born but yesterday and know nothing. Our days on earth are as fleeting as a shadow, but those who came before us will teach you. They will teach you the wisdom of old. Can papyrus reeds grow tall without a marsh? Can marsh grass flourish without water? While they are still flowering, not ready to be cut, they begin to wither more quickly than grass. The same happens to all who forget Yah. The hopes of the godless evaporate. Their confidence hangs by a thread. They are leaning on a spider's web. They cling to their home for security, but it won't last. They try to hold tight, but it will not endure. The godless seem like a lush plant growing in the sunshine, its branches spreading across the garden. Its roots grow down through a pile of stones. It takes hold of a bed on rocks. But when it is uprooted, it is as though it never existed. That's the end of its life, and others spring up from the earth to replace it. But look, Yahuwah would not reject a person of integrity, nor will he lend a hand to the wicked. He will once again fill your mouth with laughter and your lips with shouts of joy. Those who hate you will be clothed with shame, and the home of the wicked will be destroyed. Next chapter, Job chapter 9, which is the last chapter for today. Job's third speech, a response to Bildad. Then Job spoke again. Yes, I know all this is true in principle, but how can a person be declared innocent in Yahuwah's sight? If someone wanted to take Yahuwah to court, would it be possible to answer him even once in 1,000 times? For Yahuwah is so wise and so mighty. Who has ever challenged him successfully? Without warning, he moves the mountains, overturning them in his anger. He shakes the earth from its place, and its foundations tremble. If he commands it, the sun won't rise, and the stars won't shine. He alone has spread out the heavens and marches on the waves of the sea. He made all the stars, the Bear and Orion, the Pleiades and the constellations of the southern sky. He does great things too marvelous to understand. He performs countless miracles. Yet when he comes near, I cannot see him. When he moves by, I do not see him go. If he snatches someone in death, who can stop him? Who dares to ask, what are you doing? And if Yahuwah does not restrain his anger, even the monsters of the sea are but crushed beneath his feet. So who am I, that I should try to answer Yahuwah or even reason with him? Even if I were right, I would have no defense. I could only plead for mercy. And even if I summoned him and he responded, I'm not sure he would listen to me, for he attacks me with a storm and repeatedly wounds me without cause. He will not let me catch my breath, but fills me instead with bitter sorrows. If it's a question of strength, he's the strong one. If it's a matter of justice, who dares to summon him to court? Though I am innocent, my own mouth would pronounce me guilty. Though I am blameless, it would prove me wicked. I am innocent, but it makes no difference to me. I despise my life. Innocent or wicked, it's all the same to Yah. That's why I say he destroys both the blameless and the wicked. When a plague sweeps through, he laughs at the death of the innocent. The whole earth is in the hands of the wicked, and Yahuwah blinds the eyes of the judges. If he's not the one who does it, who is? My life passes more swiftly than a runner. It flees away without a glimpse of happiness. It disappears like a swift papyrus boat, like an eagle swooping down on its prey. If I decide to forget my complaints, to put away my sad face and be cheerful, I would still dread all the pain, for I know you would not find me innocent, O Yah. Whatever happens, I will be found guilty. So what's the use of trying? Even if I were to wash myself with soap and clean my hands with lye, you would plunge me into a muddy ditch, and my own filthy clothing would hate me. Yahuwah is not mortal like me, so I cannot argue with him or take him to trial. If only there were a mediator between us, someone who could bring us together. The mediator could stop Yah. The mediator could make Yah stop beating me, and I would no longer live in terror of his punishment. Then I could speak to him without fear, but I cannot do that in my own strength. That, my beautiful people, is our reading for today. That was Job 7, 8, and 9. That's pretty good. I know, poor Job. It's just like, whew. You can kind of, I don't know how many people been on their deathbed. I mean, I have never been on my deathbed. Last week was terrible, but what Job experienced, especially to the point where his flesh is rotting while he's still alive, and he see the maggots and flies and stuff. Oh, like I just said, I would be like, Lord, take me now. I don't know that I could. I don't know that I could be as strong as Job. I will hope I would be. I will hope I would be. We all hope we would be, but sometimes we don't quite know until that pain start hitting our body in all the right places, right? And it seems like no relief is coming, day or night, sleep or awake. We would hope we would be as strong as Job, right? But I don't think any of us alive here today have experienced his level of turmoil, at least those who are currently here. You may have, I don't know, but I know I haven't. Even with the whole Viet thing, it doesn't even compare to what other people experience in life, even with some other things that they have to go through, ailments in their body. So thank y'all that it wasn't worse than what it was, right? And we still here. Perry, Good morning. All right, beautiful people. Alicia, hey. All right, y'all. So I'm gonna try not to run my mouth so much today so we can get through these locations. Okay, so we backtracking one. The location that we read yesterday, we're gonna reread it today just to kind of keep all the locations together in one reading. And it's just it's showing you how that even some of the prophecies in the Old Testament and the Dead Sea Scrolls, how they kind of took all those and kind of lined them up to where they seem like prophecies, but they're really not prophecies for real, right? And like I said before, like they keep constantly showing us through here. If you just read the New Testament by itself without being aware of some of the other scrolls and stuff, the Wars of the Jews and some of the other manuscripts that they kind of wrote simultaneously, but they split different ones up and gave it to different religious sects or whatever. So now they think, oh, this is it, and they think that this is just it, when it was all a part of a bigger story, and they separated it all and just kind of gave it to different people. Kind of like on Marvel, you know how Thanos is trying to get all the jewels to put in that fist. I forget what it's called. In his hand. It's just like all the pieces of scriptures and manuscripts and things that were real and things that they actually fabricated. And a lot of the stuff they actually fabricated, right? The real Torah, they have burnt multiple times. Even when God gave it to Ezra and rewrote it, and it was burnt. They kept constantly burning the scrolls, rewriting it, and then giving it back to the people. So even a lot of the Hebrews, they got a lot of the shenanigans mixed in with the law, which is why you need the Spirit of Yah, which is Yah himself, to lead you and guide you, right? So you can separate the truth from the error. So we're still going through that. Adaya, shalom. Okay, on page 233. To begin the analysis, I would first note the elements from the New Testament that are used in the root and branch satire. These concepts stem from the root of Jesse and the branch of David. Messianic prophecies in the Old Testament and Dead Sea Scrolls. Root and branch elements in the New Testament are: 1. The Messianic lineage is described as being pruned. 2. There is a predication that the Messianic lineage will be grafted onto. 3. Jesus' capture occurs on the Mount of Olives. 4. 3 are crucified, but 1 survives. And 5. Joseph of Arimathea takes survivor down from the cross. The analysis continues by presenting each of the component passages that make up the satire in turn. Excuse me. The following passage. I'm just going to take a sip of water now. Sorry, y'all. It catches me off guard sometimes, but it's really getting better. I really, now, during the day, I find that now, even though I don't cough during the day, probably because I really don't do that much talking. You would think I'm talking and hollering all the time like kids, but I'm really not. This is the most talking I do every single day when we're here. You know, this is the most that I move my mouth. So I think that's why sometimes, like, if I don't cough all day and I get here, and it's like, you know, okay, it's just trying to, I should probably talk more throughout the day. So when I'm here, everything's good. But anyway, I digress. The analysis continues by presenting each of the component passages that make up the satire in turn. The following passage takes place at the fortress Herodian. It occurs before the siege of Jerusalem and tells the story of an Eleazar who, like his namesake, is at Masada, commits suicide. For clarification, I present the following list of concepts in the passage that are elements in the larger satire. Okay, so when they do each location, it's going to give you the 3 or 4, possibly 5 elements. Actually, yeah, the 4 to 5 elements of each one, and then it's going to read you the passage that those elements were taken out of. Okay, the first location, Theco and Herodian. And the first, the 4 elements are: 1, Eleazar; 2, pitched camp at Theco; 3, refusal to surrender; and 4, suicide. And here's where it was pulled from. Quote, nor was it long ere, E-R-E, nor was it long ere Simon came violently again upon their country, when he pitched his camp at a certain village called Theco, and sent Eleazar, one of his companions, to those that kept garrison at Herodian, and in order to persuade them to surrender that fortress to him. The garrison received this man readily, while they knew nothing of what he came about. But as soon as he talked of the surrender of the place, they fell upon him with their drawn swords, till he found that he had no place for flight, when he threw himself down from the wall into the valley beneath. So he died immediately. End quote. And you find that in Wars of the Jews 4, 9, and 5:18 through 5:20. The following passage is also part of the satire. The reader should recognize it as the passage I analyzed in chapter 6, which led me to understand that the name of the Messiah captured on the Mount of Olives was Eleazar. One of the elements that makes the root and branch satire so difficult to comprehend is that it uses the solutions to other puzzles as components. In other words, a reader must first solve the puzzle that reveals that the certain young man captured on the Mount of Olives was named Eleazar, to be able to move forward and see the even larger story that the captured Eleazar is a part of. For clarification, I must present the following list of elements in the story that are part of the satire. This location is the Mount of Olives. Jerry, shalom. Yes, shalom. Okay, so the first one here is Eleazar. The second is Pedanius, who is a physician. The third, Pedanius hangs Eleazar down from his hands as he carries him away. Number 4, capture occurs on the Mount of Olives. And 5, the fact that Eleazar is ordered to be pruned. Quote, many of the seditious were so pressed by the famine that they got together and made an attack on those Roman guards that were upon the Mount of Olives. But the Romans were apprised of their coming to attack them beforehand, and one whose name was Pedanius spurred his horse on their flank with great vehemence, and caught up a certain young man belonging to the enemy by his ankle as he was running away. The man was, however, of a robust body, and in his armor so low did Pedanius bend himself downward from his horse, even as he was galloping away, and so great was the strength of his right hand and the rest of his body, as also such skill he had in horsemanship. So this man seized upon that his prey as upon a precious treasure, and carried him as his captive to Caesar, whereupon Titus admired the man that had seized the other for his great strength, and ordered the man that was caught to be pruned for his attempt against the Roman wall. Excuse me, that's found in reference 123 in the back. And it gives you, where you find it. Whatever book and passage, all that is reference 123 in the back. End quote. The following passage is one of the most important in the works of Josephus, because in it he records his parallel to the crucifixion of Jesus in the New Testament. It occurs after the siege of Jerusalem, but before the passage describing Eleazar's capture and release at Machaerus. Its temporal orientation relative to the other events in the root and branch satire is crucial, and to make this more difficult to see, the event is recorded in Josephus's autobiography and not in the Wars of the Jews. However, Josephus did provide for the alert reader a path to understanding when his crucifixion scene occurred relative to the other events in the satire. He did so with the statement, moreover, when the city of Jerusalem was taken by force, I was sent by Titus, which indicates that the event occurred after the capture of the certain young man on the Mount of Olives by Pedanius, but before the siege of Machaerus, which occurred after Titus had left Judea. You got to really be paying attention. Like, if you go to read this, you have to really be paying attention. Like, I'm looking for clues, right? You can't get so wrapped up in the story and forget that First of all, most of it is a fabrication, and true events have been added to and taken away from and turned all around, right? Yes. Oh, thank you for that, EASF. Christy told me about that yesterday. If he was here yesterday, I actually got a spoon of honey while we was alive, and it does. It actually helped. I didn't get any today yet. I didn't think I would need it, but we'll see. We'll see. I might have to just make that a part of my morning thing before I go live, just in case, so I know for certain that this little cough is gone. Okay. This relative placement is also crucially important for the overall parallel sequence between Jesus' ministry and Titus's campaign. In other words, as in the New Testament, the three are crucified. One survives episode occurs after the Mount of Olives captured, but before the condemnation of Simon and the sparing of John, which Titus learned of by letter after he had left Jerusalem. The following list contains the elements that are used in the root and branch satire from the passage below, describing three Jews who are crucified and the one who survives at the Koa location, the Koa. And it's four listed here. The first one, three are crucified, but one survives. Number two, Joseph Bar Matthias takes survivor down from the cross. 3, pitched camp at the Koa. And 4, physician. Quote, moreover, when the city Jerusalem was taken by force, I was sent by Titus Caesar to a certain village called the Koa in order to know whether it were a place fit for a camp. As I came back, I saw many captives crucified and remembered 3 of them as my former acquaintance. I was very sorry at this in my mind and went with tears in my eyes to Titus and told him of them. So he immediately commanded them to be taken down and to have the greatest care taken of them in order to their recovery. Yet 2 of them died under the physician's hands, while the 3rd recovered. End quote. And that's found in the life of Flavius Josephus, 75, 417, and 420 through 421. Following Titus's return to Rome, Josephus describes a valley next to the fortress Machaerus in which a magic root that could dispel demons grew. The following list contains the elements in that passage that are used in the satire. And I think it was yesterday or day before yesterday when it was talking about the physician and his holistic and his understanding of herbs and stuff, where they talked about in detail this particular magic root. Okay. This location is Baras, Baaras, and it's 2 here. The first one, a root that can dispel demons, and 2, the fact that this root must be hung down from the hand of its captor as he carries it away. Quote, now within this place there grew a sort of rue, R-U-E, that deserves our wonder on account of its largeness, for it was no way inferior to any fig tree whatsoever, either in height or in thickness. And the report is that it had lasted ever since the times of Herod, and would probably have lasted much longer had it not been cut down by those Jews who took possession of the place afterward. But still in that valley, which encompasses the city on which the north side, but still in that valley which encompasses the city on the north side, there is a certain place called Baras, which produces a root of the same name with itself. Its color is like to that of flame, and towards the evenings it sends out a certain ray like lightning. It is not easily taken by such as would do it, but recedes from their hands, nor will it yield itself to be taken quietly until either the urine of a woman or her menstrual blood be poured upon it. What? What kind of vegetable fruit is this? Hold on. Let me read this again. I'm going to actually have to go look this up now. Its color, I'm going to have to go back to the chapter and get the details from it so I know exactly what I'm looking for. Okay. Its color is like that of flame, and towards the evenings it sends out a certain ray like lightning. It is not easily taken by such as would do it, but recedes from their hands, nor will it yield itself to be taken quietly until either the urine of a woman or her menstrual blood be poured upon it. I might use that for my title, but I don't know. It's quite disgusting. I gotta think about that. Even then it is certain death to those that touch it, unless anyone take and hang the root itself down from its hand, and so carry it away. It may also be taken another way without danger, which is this: they dig a trench quite round about it, till the hidden part of the root be very small. They then tie a dog to it, and when the dog tries hard to follow him that tied him, this root is easily plucked up, but the dog dies immediately. Better not let Peter find out about that. Hold on, let me get that again. They then tie a dog to it, and when the dog tries hard to follow him that tied him, this root is easily plucked up, but the dog dies immediately, as if it were instead of the man that would take the plant away. As if it were instead of the man that would take the plant away. Nor after this need anyone be afraid of taking it into their hands. Yet, after all this pains in getting, it is only valuable on the account of one virtue it hath, that if it be only brought to sick persons, it quickly drives away those called demons, which are no other than the spirits of the wicked that enter into men that are alive, and kill them unless they can obtain some help against them. Excuse me, that's reference 125. Oh, let me go to this reference. Hold on. Okay, that was found. You can find that in Josephus's Wars of the Jews, volume 7. I don't even know what oh no, it could be 2. What? Wars of the Jews 7, volume 7. Oh, volume 7, chapter 2, page 25. I'm gonna have to go pull that up today. I'm gonna have to open up my copy and go look for this root, and then I'm gonna have to look for it on the internet and see, and look in like some medical stuff and see if they have this listed somewhere. I probably will find it in like my herbs dictionary or something like that. I don't know, but I'll let y'all know. I'm gonna let y'all know. Okay. End quote. Immediately following the description of the magic root, Josephus describes another incident involving an Eleazar at one of the Herodian fortresses, Machaerus. The following elements from the passage are part of the satire. This location is Machaerus, and it's spelled Macherus, just in case I might be pronouncing that wrong. The first one, the Herodian fort. Number 2, Eleazar. Number 3, the fact that Eleazar is carried away in his armor. And 4, the fact that Eleazar survives his crucifixion. Quote, now a certain person belonging to the Roman camp, whose name was Rufus, by birth an Egyptian, ran upon him suddenly when nobody expected such a thing, and carried him off with his armor itself, while in the meantime those that saw it from the wall were under such an amazement that Rufus prevented their assistance. Prevented their assistance and carried Eleazar to the Roman camp. So the general of the Romans ordered that he should be taken up naked, set before the city to be seen, and sorely whipped before their eyes. Upon this sad incident, excuse me, hold on. Upon this sad incident that befell the young man, the Jews were terribly confounded, and the city, with one voice, sorely lamented him, and the mourning proved greater than could well be supposed upon the calamity of a single person. There go the squirrel, y'all. Remember how I tell y'all that squirrel come like every day when I'm reading and just sit. He's sitting right there. You just sit right there in the same place and just stare in and look at me. When Bassus perceived that he began to think of using a stratagem against the enemy and was desirous to aggravate their grief in order to prevail with them to surrender the city for the preservation of that man, nor did he fail of his hope, for he commanded them to set up a cross, as if he were just going to hang Eleazar upon it immediately. The sight of this occasioned a sore grief among those that were in the citadel, and they groaned vehemently and cried out that they could not bear to see him thus destroyed. Whereupon Eleazar besought them not to disregard him. Now he was going to suffer a most miserable death, and exhorted them to save themselves by yielding to the Roman power and good fortune, since they now conquered all other people. These men were greatly moved with what he said, there being also many within the city that interceded for him, because he was of an eminent and very numerous family. So they now yielded to their passion of commiseration, contrary to their usual custom. Accordingly, they sent out immediately certain messengers and treated with the Romans in order to surrender the citadel to them, and desired that they might be permitted to go away and take Eleazar along with them. Then did the Romans and their generals accept of these terms. Bassus thought he must perform the covenant he had made with those that had surrendered. He let them go and restored Eleazar to them. End quote, and that's reference 126. The famous depiction of the siege of Masada is also part of this satirical theme. Its elements are, and this location is Masada. It's three of them. The Herodian fort, Eleazar, and not surrendering leads to suicide. Quote, this fortress was called Masada. It was one Eleazar, a potent man, and the commander of the Sicarii that had seized upon it. He was a descendant from that Judas who had persuaded abundance of the Jews, as we have formerly related, not to submit to the taxation when Cyrenius was sent into Judea to make one. End quote. And this was of the Jews, 7, 8, and 252 through 253. Those are the page numbers too. I know I just say the numbers after the book, but it's the page numbers, y'all. Finally, Josephus records his last story about Eleazar. This time he is located in Rome. Although included in the antiquities of the Jews, excuse me, we can be certain that the event occurred in Rome because Josephus states that the event occurred in the presence of Vespasian's sons. Notice the plural. Since Domitian did not travel to Judea, this fact establishes that the event took place after Titus had returned to Rome. In the passage, Eleazar is using a magic root to remove demons from captives. Its elements within the satire are, and it changes location. Location is Rome. It's three of them. The first one is Eleazar. The second one is the magic root. And number 3, the demons cannot pass through water. Quote, for I have seen a certain man of my own country, whose name was Eleazar, releasing people that were demoniacal in the presence of Vespasian and his sons, and his captains and the whole multitude of his soldiers. The manner of the cure was this. He put a ring that had a root of one of those sorts mentioned by Solomon to the nostrils of the demoniac, after which he drew out the demon through his nostrils. And when Eleazar would persuade and demonstrate to the spectators that he had such a power, he set a little way off a cup or basin full of water, and commanded the demon as he went out of the man to overturn it, and thereby to let the spectators know that he had left the man. End quote. And that's reference 127. To begin the interpretation of the root and branch satire, I would note that all the passages above involve a character named Eleazar. In the passage that occurs at Herodion, Machaerus, Masada, and Rome, Josephus names the character overtly. In the case of the young man who was carried away at the Mount of Olives, I have already shown the puzzle that leads to this conclusion. The crucified man who survived at the Koa and the magical root of Baris are also part of the satirical system regarding Eleazar. This is an example of the same motif that I discussed previously regarding regarding the various Marys and Simons. In other words, all the Eleazars are a part of a single satirical element. The passages work together to create a story describing the Roman capture of the messianic root of the Jews, Eleazar, and then their pruning of him and transforming him into Jesus, the demon-dispelling pro-Roman Messiah. Ooh, that might be our title for the day. The demon-dispelling pro-Roman Messiah. Now think about it. Think about this and that magic root. The parallel that indicates Eleazar is the root is quite overt. The reader must recall the method by which Josephus states someone may capture the magic root Baris, that is, the sun, without killing himself. It is certain death to those that touch it, unless anyone take and hang the root itself down from its hand and so carry it away. This is the precise and implausible method used by Pedanius to procure Eleazar on the Mount of Olives. Quote, so low did Pedanius bend himself downward from his horse, and so great was the strength of his right hand, so this man seized upon that his prey as upon a precious treasure, and carried him as his captive to Caesar. End quote. Notice the parallel language: down, hand, and carry away. As his depiction of the magic root does, Josephus's preposterous description of Pedanius' capture of the certain young man on the Mount of Olives stretches credulity. This literary device alerts the reader that the tales are not literal history, and that therefore he or she should look for another type of meaning. In this instance, the parallel methods by which they are captured identifies metaphorically that Eleazar is, like Baris, a dangerous root. This identification is also facilitated by the name of the root, Baris, which means son, S-O-N. Further, the satirical capture by Pedanius of the Jewish Messiah, who is the root to the messianic rebels, contributes to the overall satirical theme and wit. Because Pedanius was the Romans' most renowned root specialist, he would have been, of course, the chosen one to handle such a dangerous one. The meaning of the tale of the magic root of Baris within the root and branch satire is also easy to understand. It documents the existence of a metaphorical root that had the power to remove demons. Obviously, the Jesus of the New Testament, the only individual in history with such power. The Romans would graft this demon-dispelling root onto Eleazar once they had pruned him, thereby transforming the root that had infected so many a demonic spirit into one that had the power to remove demons. Parallels also indicate that the individual who survived his crucifixion at Tekoa was the Messiah. This individual would have been a Christ because, like his type in the New Testament, he was the sole survivor among 3 crucified men. The two must be among the few individuals in history to have survived a crucifixion. Hold on, let me read it again. The two must be among the few individuals in history to have survived a crucifixion. Further, a Joseph of Arimathea arranged for both survivors to be taken down from the cross. This is to say that the last names of the 2 Josephs, Joseph bar Matthias and Joseph of Arimathea, are homophonically similar. Arimathea is an obvious play on Josephus's last name, bar Matthias, which is quite similar to the Iscariot Sakari pun noted above. The Gospel of Barnabas, the non-canonical gospel from the Middle Ages, does not even bother with this wordplay and states that the name of the individual who took Jesus down from the cross was Joseph of Arimathea. Joseph of Arimathea is also identified as the type of Josephus bar Matthias by his job description, which is a counselor. And you can find that in Luke chapter 23, verse 50. The individual who survived his crucifixion at Tekoa is also linked to the Eleazar capture on the Mount of Olives by the physician Pedanius, in that Josephus states that it was a physician who restored him to life. Pedanius was a physician who accompanied Titus to Judea and therefore would have been the physician at Tekoa. Finally, the Eleazar who committed suicide at the fortress Herodian had pitched a camp at Theco previously and had thus answered the question Josephus asked about whether Theco was a fit place to camp. The name of the place where the crucifixion occurred, Tekoa, is also part of the satirical system. Tekoa, or Theokois, is the name of the Roman god of the questioning intellect. The point being made here is that the irrational Jewish Messiah was taken to the place of a discerning or questioning intellect. There he was, as Titus ordered, pruned, and as Paul described, grafted onto with a new root, and was thus transformed into Messiah, deemed rational by the Romans. Knowing that the magic root was named Eleazar, as was the man who survived his crucifixion at Tekoa, and knowing the time sequence in which these events took place, enables the reader to perceive the satire that all the passages work together to create. The Eleazar captured by Pedanius on the Mount of Olives is taken to Tekoa, where he is hung on a tree, that is, crucified, as Titus has ordered, pruned. The botanist and physician Pedanius then grafts the magic root of Baris, or sun, onto him. This process transforms Eleazar from a root.
I cleaned that.
What did you do upstairs?
I cleaned the bowl out now.
Just sit that on the floor.
I know.
Okay. No, what you're trying to do is you're trying to get these freeze pops in the deep freezer.
Yeah. Yes, I am.
Yeah, thank you for your candor. She said, no, I'm not. Yes, I am. Okay. The Eleazar, captured by Pedanius on the Mount of Olives, is taken to Tekoa, where he is hung on a tree, that is, crucified, and, as Titus has ordered, pruned. The botanist and physician Pedanius then grafts the magic root of Baris, or sun, onto him. This process transforms Eleazar from a root that causes the Jews to be possessed by a demonic spirit into the root that dispels demons. Eleazar has become Jesus. Once this Eleazar has been satirically pruned and grafted on...
It's the last one.
Okay, well, don't go upstairs waving it in front of your brother's face, because then they're going to start hollering because you took the last one. Go ahead and slide that over and throw that away. You need to stay down here and eat it.
I need to watch something.
Well, sis, throw that away. You know your brother's going to start hollering because they're going to come down here looking. Throw that away. Once this Eleazar has been satirically pruned and grafted onto at the Tekoa, he is given back to the Jews at Machaerus. In this way, the Romans introduce a tame or domesticated plant into a field of wild ones to decrease the wildness of later generations. Same thing they did with what they doing with the scriptures. They've taken it, they've burned it, they've rewritten it, and giving you back a tame one to kind of tame you in the future generations so y'all don't buck against Rome, right? Which we can see. Boy, I'll keep them comments to myself. I'll just read this again. Once this Eleazar has been satirically pruned and grafted onto at the Tekoa, he is given back to the Jews at Machaerus. In this way, the Romans introduced a tame or domesticated plant into a field of wild ones to decrease the wildness of later generations. Alright, I'll put this back. Put this back. Thank you. Of note is the fact at this point the satire Of note is the fact that at this point the satire takes the story of Jesus beyond the storyline of the Gospels and begins to describe the implementation of Christianity by the Romans. Who would have thought? Like if you read it, if you just read the New Testament, you will realize Christianity was implemented by Rome when it shouldn't, right? Even that right there, even if you didn't even have the Torah, some would seem off to you.
Back down here.
Okay, thank you. Stay here till you're done.
Sorry, week. I went back down here.
Okay, very good. Go get some Vaseline for your lips too, because we're gonna be ending this in a few minutes. If you ever paid attention to that, you would have to stop and think, okay, why does this gospel seem like it's more catered to help Rome than to actually help the people who are following said religion, right? Jesus was a Roman Messiah, right? There is no doubt about that. Okay. Although they say he's the Messiah for Christians, but Rome set all of this up. And if we, like I say, even if you just had that and you read through it, you would kind of come to the conclusion, yeah, Rome implemented this Messiah, like, because you got all these Roman people loving Jesus. Like, and when you read it, you will see that, and it's like, something kind of off about this, right? Okay. Let me just read that last sentence again, because this is the last bit of this chapter, too. Hold on, Pooh.
Stay weak.
Okay, that's fine. Once this Eleazar has been satirically pruned and grafted onto at the Tekoa, he is given back to the Jews at Machaerus. In this way, the Romans introduce a tame or domesticated plant into a field of wild ones to decrease the wildness of later generations. Of note is the fact that at this point, the satire takes the story of Jesus beyond the storyline of that of the Gospels and begins to describe the implementation of Christianity by the Romans. This satirical introduction of the domesticated Jesus takes place in the passage that immediately follows the description of the magic root. In that passage, the Roman general Bassus seeks to make the Jews inside the Herodian fortress Mercurius surrender by threatening to crucify Eleazar in front of them. Those Jews who accept these terms are permitted to survive, and Bassus then restores Eleazar. Obviously, the Eleazar carried away at the Mount of Olives and treated by the physician at the Koah to them, and they go on their way. Let me read that again. I just kind of screwed the whole sentence up. Okay. Those Jews who accepted these terms are permitted to survive, and Bassus then restores Eleazar. Obviously, the Eleazar carried away at Mount of Olives and treated by the physician at the Koah to them, and they go on their way. In other words, those Jews who accepted the tame Messiah and his pro-Roman doctrine are allowed to live. Oh, wait. That might be our title. I don't know. I get so excited about all this different stuff, and I don't know what I want to use for my title. And sometimes I try and chop it all up and use everything as the title so it look like I'm talking about all these different subjects. Okay, I digress. At Masada, however, another Eleazar, a parallel to Eleazar at Herodian, refuses to surrender and commits suicide. The point is that refusal to surrender and accept the new Judaism is tantamount to suicide. With this Eleazar's death, Josephus is also terminating the root and branch of the Maccabean lineage so that it will not compete against the domesticated messianic lineage newly established by Rome. Josephus concludes the root and branch satire with a description of yet another Eleazar who performs exorcisms at Rome. This Eleazar uses the magic root to pull demons out of captives, clearly indicating captured Messianic Jews. This image represents a complete victory for the Roman homeopathic approach over the problem of the Messianic roots. I'm sorry, let me start the sentence over. This image represents a complete victory for the Roman homeopathic approach over the problem of the Messianic root that caused Jews to be possessed by demons. The root that caused the Jewish rebels to be infected has been domesticated by Pedanius and can therefore now be used to cure them of the disease it brought about. Remember, this disease that they had was them only worshiping Yah, right? They were fire hot mad with the Hebrews or the Jews, like he's calling them here, because they would not worship Caesar or Titus or this new Jesus, which was still Caesar, wrapped up in gift wrap and stuff to make to look like who they wanted to worship. Remember, you just got to go back and learn about the Sakari Hebrews and how they worship Yah, and they weren't having it because people only worshiping Yah disrupts the world systems and how they make money. It messes with the church's money. It messes with Rome money. It causes people to be thinking logically, and you're not under their deep delusion, keeping you doing all the things that they want you to do so they can eventually take everything you have. Guys, it's the same exact thing today everywhere all over the earth. Rome is ruling the entire world right now, right? And the only way they can continue ruling is by continuing to delude people and keeping them under a strong delusion. And technology, the information age, has further helped them to do that because they control the media and social media and a lot of other things, and they allow misinformation and lies to be perpetrated, and they themselves massively push out garbage and propaganda to people that keeps that level of control that they have come to love oh so much, right? And unsuspecting people just kind of go through life, la la la, la la la. Well, this is just what it is. Rome is going to rule, and we're going to go to our grave dying, waiting for Jesus to come save us when they created Jesus. And you're going to wait for somebody that ain't never coming for you, right? Remember, if you don't remember anything else, this world was given to us. This is our place. This is our home, right? We should be ruling. But while we're allowing other people to lead us off the cliff, like sheep being led to the slaughter, we're going to keep dying and waiting for something to happen that's never going to happen when Yahuwah set it up that we would cause it to happen, right? But it has to be enough of us woke to begin to change things. Even like with the corrupt government. People want to kill the government altogether, but you do need some type of government, some kind of leadership ruling, but rulership should be righteous. If enough people would come out of their hobbit holes and begin to prepare themselves, I'm not saying it could go a couple different ways, because there's been many good people that's prepared themselves and got themselves ready to go into government positions and got into government positions and then got tainted. And now they're a part of the system. And the thing that they believed at first has now been kind of been pushed to the sunken place, and they become like a wheel, like a cog in the whole contraption, right? So now they get in there and they're not doing what they should be doing. But if a big influx of people, if it's enough people, I think this is just going to take some time. I think it's just going to take some time. I only got like 2 paragraphs to read, and I'm going to finish that. But if enough people all over the world is sick and tired of the shenanigans, if they would just rise up. Here's what people are afraid of. They're afraid of dying. They're afraid of the Illuminati and the unseen forces that kill people that stand up to speak the truth. That's what people are afraid of. You know what? There's just some people that's just going to have to take one for the team, right? We got to know that going into this. It's just going to be some of us just going to have to take one for the team, right? But it's only so much ammo that they have. But if there's a steady flow, a steady group of people who would stand up and do what's right. For example, you have people in government that have been holding positions for far too long. They should no longer be there. You got people that was born in the goddamn 1910 era, still, that's a little bit of exaggeration, but you can tell they like 70, 80, 90 years. Some of them may not be 90, but they look like it. They should not be there. This is a whole different type of generation, whole different type of set of rules that's happening now. It's inventions and contraptions and stuff that are here that they would never even believe during the 1910s would ever come about, right? They should not be holding office. They could go to the grave at any given time, and they holding on to their seats with everything they can. And see, here's the thing. The only ones that hold lifetime positions are judges. Everybody else is holding seats. Why ain't nobody stood up to go take their seat? Like nobody? Is there nobody that wants to stand up and go after these seats? These people keep just by default. They keep rolling right along 10, 15, 20, 30, 40, 50 years in these seats because nobody will stand up and go after their seat. Nobody's giving them any kind of run for their money. Everybody thinking, oh, Jesus gonna handle it, God gonna handle it, this, and that. I'm like, no, fools. We gonna handle it. Y'all, it's the human people that's gonna take these seats, right? Because the government is never gonna end. The government is never gonna end. It's just gonna change from wicked to a moral righteous government. And it's gonna be the people living on the earth who are going to take these seats. So even if there is one person, if we want to do it one person at a time, pick the one we think we need to get out of there first. Okay. Get 10 people to run for this position. Now, these 10 people that's running for this position, instead of what we seeing happening on the news, everybody fighting, pulling up dirt on one another, how about these 10 people work together? May the best one of us win, right? If you fall, I mean, you should prepare for the positions, understand the history. Okay, it's 10 of us is running, but we're going to support each other. We're not going to get out here and sling dirt at one another to try to grab this seat. But we know one of us is better than that person that's been holding it for the last 80 years. One of us can be better. And as it narrows and you get closer, people begin to fall off. You know, they lose votes. Okay, when you fall off, okay, if I fall off, I'm falling in line supporting you. And everybody that fall off, we fall in line and we support you to push you there to get them out. That's how this is supposed to work. But everybody's sitting back waiting for a created Messiah that the government itself created to come save them and to help us to clean up this mess when we're the ones. That's why we keep living and dying and going to the grave and nothing happens. And they pushing stuff and making people take stuff. They're violating your rights. And the people say, oh, just wait on Jesus to come. I'm like, you know what? Can we get a flight to Switzerland somewhere where all this foolishness is not going on because the people are not getting it? Guys, it's always been about government and governmental rule, right? It's always been about the righteous leading or the wicked coming usurping the righteous authority so they could then rule the people, right? Listen, it's the whole world almost is like a city broken down without walls, right? And the wicked are just ruling and the people think they have no power and all the people have to do is unify, right? That's all we got to do. But I digress. Y'all can see I'm really passionate about this. Let me finish these last two paragraphs, y'all. Hold on. Okay. Because this is the end of chapter. This is the end of chapter 8. And we're at an hour and 5 minutes. Okay. Hold on. At Masada, however, another Eleazar, a parallel to the Eleazar at Herodian, refuses to surrender and commits suicide. The point is that refusal to surrender and accept the new Judaism is tantamount to suicide. With this Eleazar's death, Josephus is also terminating the root and branch of the Maccabean lineage so that it will not compete against the domesticated messianic lineage established by Rome. Josephus concludes the root and branch satire with the description of yet another Eleazar, one who performs exorcisms at Rome. This Eleazar uses the magic root to pull demons out of captives, clearly indicating captured Messianic Jews. This image represents a complete victory for the Roman homeopathic. I got to look away from it because the word, when I look at it, it screwed me up. But I got to look away to think about what it says. The Roman homeopathic approach over the problem of the Messianic root that causes the Jews to be possessed by demons. The root that caused the Jewish rebels to be infected has been domesticated by Paganism and can therefore now be used to cure them of the disease it brought about. This image is both the fulfillment of the prophecy of Malachi, which foresees that the wicked will be left with no branch or root, and the conclusion of the satire that began in the New Testament concerning the root. Further, the passage concludes the black comedy theme regarding the inability of demons to pass through water, which began in the Demons of Gadara passage above and ends here with a demoniac spirit knocking over the basin full of water as it leaves the prisoners. These prisoners were the 2,000 rebels who were captured at Gadara. Being demonically possessed, they could not pass through water and therefore did not drown. As the demon leaves them, it concludes the wry joke by knocking over the water basin. The passage is also Josephus's last depiction of the domesticated Christ that the Romans created, and it provides us with their vision of his future. He is at Rome working for the imperial family by calming the rebellious, just as he has been for the last 2,000 years. Right? And this is something that's the end of chapter 8. And so one thing I remember, as me and my sister began to look into all this a few years ago, we began to realize something ain't right about this Jesus, right? And what we're reading about and what they're teaching, you got all the conflict and all that stuff. And it was funny because she said, you know what? She said, it seems like, she said, if we look at it, at the Hebrews from the Old Testament and we get into the New, it seems like the God that they worship in the Old Testament is completely different from the one that they worship in the new, which clearly we know that's true, right? They're not the same gods, right? Two totally different entity and person that was created, right? But she said, I know this may sound bad. She said, but don't Jesus sound like, in the New Testament, don't he sound like a pansy to you? And we like hollered and laughed. I'm like, you absolutely right, because everything is all sweet, loving this and this and that. Not that Yahuwah was like this tyrant God, because he wasn't. But that's what people who don't read, that's how they understand it. If they let people teach them, they don't know what the heck they're talking about, right? But because we see that all through Torah, that Yahuwah is constantly loving his people. He's constantly forgiving them. He said, come, let us reason together. Now let's talk about this thing. Look, I'm showing you how this world is created up. Good and evil. It's all, you got to choose one, right? Good or evil. He said, matter of fact, I create both of them. I create good and evil. He said, but I've set out paths before you, paths of life and paths of death. And I want to help you out. I want you to choose the paths of life. I want you to live, right? So anybody that say that the Old Testament God is a wrathful and vengeful God, they're absolutely wrong. That's like, it's just completely wrong. The outlook on it is completely wrong, right? So, but they did. They have created a Messiah and given him to you to pacify you, and the righteous anger and indignation that will naturally rise up in people who see injustices being done, right? That's a natural thing and it's a good thing, but they don't want that to happen. They want to pacify you all together. No, you just forgive them. Like, it's always forgive. Not that you shouldn't forgive people, right? Get what I'm saying? Because forgiveness is a real thing, and it'll save your life. It'll change your life around. But there are some people that, get what I'm saying, I ain't gonna say there's some people you just shouldn't forgive, but there are some people that you just shouldn't forgive and let just get off, right? I.e. child molesters and people that they make a habit of murdering people. Those not you don't just kiss, thank you, see you in heaven. Jesus is gonna clean you up somewhere down the road. I'm gonna see you in heaven, and we just gonna be brothers and sisters for all eternity. Bull. That's crap. I'm trying to be nice. I'm trying to be nice about that. But that is a bunch of garbage, if I ever heard and seen garbage in my life, right? And when you get your good common sense back and you see that, wait a minute, we have been played for fools. Like they tell us this, kiss each other, forgive, let Jesus handle it. And then they pulled out the scripture from the Old Testament, vengeance is mine, thus saith the Lord. I'm like, you know what? You're trying to calm me down against this injustice that's being done against these children, against me, against my family, against people. You should not be doing this to other. They trying to pat. Oh, you know what? Just God gonna get them. Ain't no vengeance like the vengeance God can give. So we do. I'm like, you know what? Something is wrong about that. But when people trying to pacify you, it's like they're trying to push that anger back down because they don't want it to get out of control. Like they have to deal with the Hebrews of old time and the Sakari, because it'll be constant wars. And they don't want to war. They want to go through and just take everything they can take and keep you at bay. Oh, what? No, you need to, just give them a little something. Just keep the anger down. Keep the riots. Give them a little something. Change something for them, right? Give them a little something, but don't give them too much, or they'll be able to come back and take everything that we've taken from them, right? Same thing with certain group of people all over the world. They pacify you with little stuff, and always promising you something, but never really give you anything. That's some crap if I ever seen crap in my life. And people act like that's not what's going on. That's really what's going on. And they use you for your influence to get people that they want to put in place, put them in place. God, we look like complete idiots out here in this place, y'all. And there's nobody thinking about this. There's nobody thinking about this. MP, Shalom. Do you believe we're living in Revelations? Any of the New Testament? Let me explain. I'm going to take too long. Listen to what I'm saying. Do I believe we're living in Revelations? Any of the New Testament? Yes. Now, that may shock. What? You just talked? Let me tell you why. They created this crap. They created the story. And for generations, they passed the baton on to continue carrying out their story. Things are looking like they're coming to pass because they freaking wrote it. They wrote it. They control the government. They control most of the news channels, if not all of them. The ones that they don't control, it's kind of like people like us on YouTube. They kind of let us, they pacify us for a little while. They just let you go because, you don't really have too much influence. But the channels that grow and have influence, they cut them off, right? Because, you talking too much, boy. You talking too much, girl. Cut them off. Kill all their social media so they can't talk to nobody. And the only people you can talk to now is people you are face-to-face with. Maybe you set something else up where you can talk to people and tell them the truth, but they start removing you from everything. So you can't talk to anybody because now you have become a threat. So do I believe we're living in Revelations and any of the New Testament? I absolutely do, because they wrote it and they control it. So they make it look like these things are happening. And if they keep you inundated with what they wrote, they can keep you, oh my gosh, prophecy is being fulfilled. Bull crap. I'm telling y'all better open your eyes and pay attention to what's going on. What's being fulfilled is what they control. It's literally almost like a movie that they're producing and they're controlling, and people are following in. They're just following along. Yes, Revelation, it is, Victor. It is. It's a book made by the enemy. There are some true things in the New Testament, right? Because they've taken some true things and they've mixed it with lies, and they've added other things to it. So it's a big mess, really. You can find truth in the New Testament because it has been taken from truthful things, excuse me, and things that have happened. But there are a lot of things that have, like I said, been added, been fabricated. So you have to be really careful about what it is. You really have to become a good discerner of truth and error, right? Because there are some things that seem like it's true and it's absolutely false. There is some good wisdom tidbits that you can find back there. A lot of those good wisdom tidbits have been pulled from the book of Proverbs and some from Psalms, right? Because a lot of that stuff, it doesn't originate in the New Testament. You can find the origin of those truthful tidbits in the Torah. They've just taken it, moved it over, and added other stuff around it. That's a lot of times what stumps people. They're like, well, this is true. We know this happened. Yes, but you have to understand what was done, how it was created. So, okay, all right, y'all. I want to show y'all his new pajamas. All right, so, yeah, with that being said, excuse me, that's that. So I would encourage you all.
Can I end the video?
Yes, sister. See, I hear your brother come here. Now everybody want to be the ender of the video. No. We're gonna let Tootie do this. Where she at?
No, she's asleep.
She ain't sleep.
Yes, she is.
She sleep where? Where does she sleep at?
At your side of the bed.
No. Sis is not asleep. Okay, no, y'all just tell me that. Okay, y'all. MP, I've been thinking about that. I don't know what the next book is, but I be thinking about it every day because we over the halfway point here, and I'm like, okay, she sleep? I'm gonna have to go check on her. Yeah, so I really been thinking about it. I don't know yet.
Mom, is this leather?
No, it's not leather food. It's cotton. I think it's just cotton or polyester or something. I don't know. Okay, guys, let me end this. Hold on. Okay, y'all. So let's go ahead and end this because they want to start having conversation. What, boo?
Me and Josh wants to end the video, and we said say.
Today is Sunday. October the 3rd, 2021. Day 269 of year 3 of reading through the...
2 days until Halloween.
No, we really don't, son.
Did you say October, Mom?
We're in October. Halloween is at the end of the month. And why do you even care? You act like we celebrate Halloween when we don't.
People are gonna come to our door.
I know we're gonna do what we do every year. We're gonna look at them out the window and wave.
That's wrong.
They be coming to the door like, we gotta have fun some way, right?
Wow.
They coming for, we ain't got no candy. You can go to that house. Every house that got on porch lights got candy. Just because y'all see us here standing in the window like we got candy don't mean we'll get y'all candy. Is our porch light on? Our porch light ain't on. Get off our porch.
Well, that's kind of creepy standing in the window like that.
I know that's wrong. But you gotta have fun. It's kids, you know. I like the kids around the neighborhood. They were like, don't go to the house. They ain't gonna give us no candy. One year I might surprise them and give them some candy, but I might just take it and toss it off. Y'all, we be being foolish sometimes. You gotta have fun. You really gotta have fun.
Why can't we? Isn't that kind of like celebrating?
No, it's not like celebrating. It's trying to wake them up. We're gonna hit them in the head with candy.
Yeah, but it's illegal. Hit them in the head with some.
Somebody gonna turn us in one day.
No. So I said hit them in the head with some jawbreakers.
No, not hard candy.
Those are hard.
Soft candy. We only throw soft candy. Okay, y'all. Stop before we incriminate ourselves up here. Okay.
Mom, why can't we not celebrate Halloween?
You want me to just give you the church's politically correct answer? Because it's the devil's day. Don't get me started on this, y'all. What's the difference, son? You worshiping a created person. Listen.
Why did we even learn about this? I'm about to finish the video.
Thank you. Hold on. We read Job 7, 8, and 9. We read Caesar's Messiah. The rest of chapter 8. That's the book. Page 223 to page. In the chapter 8 was page 234. Actually, 233.
Mom.
234 is a blank page. So
Mommy.
234.
Mom.
223 to 234.
Mommy, I saw someone right there. They were holding a box of candy. All the children went there, and he decided to throw the whole bag of candy on the street.
Yeah.
And then it spread it out to everyone's houses.
Well, whatever.
Was that in your dream?
Blessing y'all. It's found in Numbers chapter 6. Starting at verse 22 through 27. Remember the first 21 verses is the Nazirite vow. Excuse me. And Yahuwah spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto Aaron and unto his sons, saying, On this wise ye shall bless the children of Israel, saying unto them, Yahuwah will kneel before us presenting gifts, and will guard us with a hedge of protection.
Mom, on my birthday, you will never let me get a Nintendo Switch.
Yahuwah will illuminate the wholeness of his being towards us, bringing order, and he will provide us with love, sustenance, and friendship. Yahuwah will lift up his wholeness of being and look upon us, and he will set in place all we need to be whole and complete. And they shall put my name upon the children of Israel, and I will bless them. All right, beautiful people. Oh, Trina, I just seen your comment from earlier. I meant to say something about it. You said they too greedy to support each other. Who was talking about the government and stuff. Yeah, they definitely too greedy to support one another. That's why the people need to rise up and take over all of these positions in the government. We flush enough of them out. The good ones who are in there that are scared to stand up will stand up and support what's righteous, right? But it's certain key wickedness positions, people in those positions that need to be flushed out. We need to completely get rid of them. But yeah. So with that being said, beautiful people. All right, let's see. Thank you for answering. Oh, you're welcome. Oh yeah, you said that.
Mom,
before.
are
You
these
asked what
real
was the next
people?
book. Yeah, they're real people. It's just their pictures are showing. Okay. All right, y'all. That's it. I'll see y'all tomorrow, 7:15 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Peace. And since Bella is asleep, that's kind of odd. I'm about to go upstairs and check on her. Sis don't never go back to sleep.
Let him end it.
Okay. So we're going to go ahead and end it. All right. Come on. End this. Let me go check on sis. All right. Love y'all.